You are not lazy. You have called yourself that for months, maybe even longer. Yet what you are actually experiencing has a name: emotional exhaustion, and it is not a character flaw. Psychologists distinguish between laziness, which is a lack of motivation to do something you are capable of doing, and emotional exhaustion, which is a state where your nervous system is depleted and lacks the resources to perform tasks you could normally handle under better circumstances. Understanding this difference is important. Because laziness is a mindset issue, while emotional exhaustion is a resource issue. You cannot simply think your way out of a resource problem as you can with a motivation problem. Today, we will discuss 7 signs that may appear to be laziness, but are actually symptoms of emotional exhaustion, and sign 4 is often unrecognized by individuals until someone else describes it first. Sign 1. Small tasks feel enormous. Replying to a text, making a phone call, putting a dish in the sink. These are not hard tasks objectively, and you know they are not hard, which is exactly what makes this sign so confusing. You are not intimidated by the difficulty of the task. You are responding to how much internal resource it costs to initiate anything at all. Think of it like this. Every action you take requires a withdrawal from the same emotional bank account. When your reserves are full, a 5-minute task is a tiny withdrawal, barely noticeable. But when your account is overdrawn, even that seems small. Withdrawal triggers an overdraft fee you cannot afford. Your brain is not evaluating the task's complexity. It is evaluating the cost of starting, and when you are running on empty, the startup cost for anything feels impossibly high. This is why a 5-minute task can sit undone for 3 days. It was never about the 5 minutes. It was about the fact that you have been making withdrawals for so long that you no longer have the currency required to begin. Sign 2. You feel guilty resting, and you feel guilty when you don't. If you rest, a voice tells you that you are behind, that you should be doing something productive, that other people manage fine. If you push through instead, you feel resentful and depleted by the end of it, and the guilt shows up anyway, just from a different angle. This double bind is a hallmark of emotional exhaustion, because there genuinely is no comfortable option left. Your nervous system is trapped in a no-win scenario. Rest feels like failure, and pushing through feels like punishment. The exhaustion has closed off both the rest that would help and the productivity that used to feel satisfying. What makes this especially cruel is that guilt itself is metabolically expensive. It burns through the very energy you are trying to conserve, so you end up spending what little you have left on self-criticism, which leaves even less for the actual task. You are not avoiding work. You are avoiding the feeling of never being enough, no matter which choice you make. Sign 3. You are fine in every conversation. Someone asks how you are doing, and fine, good, or just busy comes out before you have even considered the actual answer. This is not dishonesty. It is efficiency. Explaining the real answer takes more energy than most conversations have room for, and emotional exhaustion often includes a quiet retreat from emotional transparency, not because you are hiding something dramatic, but because performing wellness is simply less costly than explaining depletion to someone who is expecting a one-word answer. There is a calculation happening beneath your awareness. Will this person actually understand? Do I have the energy to walk them through it? Will I have to comfort them about my own struggle? Most of the time, the answer is no, so you default to the script. The tragedy is that this self-protective habit slowly erodes genuine connection, which is one of the few things that actually refills your reserves. You are not lying to be deceptive. You are lying to survive the social interaction with whatever tiny sliver of energy you have left. Here is the sign almost nobody names in themselves. Sign 4. You forget things you would normally remember, appointments, names, where you put your keys again. This is one of the least discussed signs of emotional exhaustion because it gets misread as a memory problem, a getting older problem, or a distraction problem. Still, research on chronic stress and cognitive load shows something more specific. Sustained emotional depletion actually reduces the working memory capacity available for everyday tasks because the brain is quietly allocating resources to managing an ongoing internal load. Your brain is like a computer with too many background processes running. The visible applications: remembering where you left your keys, what time your appointment is, start to lag and crash because the system is using most of its processing power to keep the underlying stress response from shutting everything down entirely. You are not becoming forgetful. Your working memory has a smaller share of itself. To give right now and everyday details are the first thing to lose the bid. The items that slip through the cracks are not the important ones. They are the ordinary ones, the ones your brain assumes can be safely sacrificed in order to keep you functioning moment to moment. This is not cognitive decline, this is cognitive rationing. Sign 5. You may feel the need for rest but find yourself scrolling instead. True rest requires effort, such as putting down your phone and engaging in rewarding activities. When you're emotionally exhausted, it's easy to turn to low-effort distractions like scrolling, which offers a brief relief but leaves you more drained, numbing. Activities don't restore your energy. They distract you from your fatigue. That's why an hour of scrolling can leave you feeling more tired. You aren't lazy. You are just exhausted and reaching for the easiest option. However, scrolling can worsen your exhaustion by consuming your attention without providing any real benefits. Sign 6. Things that used to feel easy now feel like a lot. Sign 7. You feel behind constantly, regardless of what you actually did that day. These two travel together because emotional exhaustion quietly moves your baseline. What used to take 10% of your capacity now takes 40%, and you are still measuring yourself against the old baseline, the one from before the depletion, so you feel like you are underperforming even on days you objectively did enough. Imagine trying to run a race with a weighted vest on. The distance is the same, the track is the same, but suddenly every step costs twice as much, and yet you keep checking your time against your old personal best, wondering why you cannot keep up. You are not falling behind an external standard. You are falling behind a version of yourself that has more to work with, a version of yourself that existed before your nervous system got worn down by sustained strain. This is why no amount of to-do list optimization or time management will fix the feeling of being behind, because the problem is not your schedule. The problem is that your capacity has quietly shrunk, and you have not yet adjusted your expectations to match your new reality. Here is what is actually happening. Chronic emotional exhaustion is closely linked to what researchers call allostatic load, the cumulative wear on your body and brain from sustained activation of the stress response. Even low-grade stress that never crosses the threshold into a visible crisis, under sustained allostatic load, the prefrontal cortex, which handles planning, initiation, and impulse control, receives less reliable access to resources. At the same time, the body stays in a low-level activated state that never fully resolves. This is why rest alone often does not fix it. A weekend of sleep can reduce fatigue, but it does not necessarily lower allostatic load, because the load is often maintained by ongoing circumstances, unresolved stress, or a nervous system that has learned to stay braced even when nothing acute is happening. What actually helps is not more rest by volume, but rest that includes genuine safety signals, predictable structure, real human connection, and small, completed actions that prove to your nervous system it has some capacity left, which is the opposite of the all-or-nothing collapse, then push cycle that emotional exhaustion usually produces. How many of these 7 signs have been true for you, not just for a tough week, but for several months? Be honest about your count. If you find that 4 or more have applied to you, what you may have considered a discipline problem is likely a depletion problem. Depletion issues do not improve with more willpower. Instead, they require a reduced load and genuine rest. We hope this video has been helpful. Next time, we'll discuss the people often referred to as the strong ones and the true costs associated with that role. Stay tuned. If this describes someone you know, someone who has been quietly beating themselves up for not just doing the thing, send them this video. Sometimes the kindest thing you can hand someone is a different explanation for what they have been experiencing. If you want support working through ongoing exhaustion with a professional, a licensed therapist can help you figure out what is actually driving the load. Take care of your capacity, and we will see you in the next one. We are Neuroform Studios, Foundation, Guidance, Transformation.